All right, guys, so for today, we're going to be talking specifically about isosceles triangles, okay? And so we're going to be using the isosceles triangle that we just recently talked about, right, to find the value of x. All right, so for the first one, okay, one thing that we know is that if we have two sides that are the same, it's an isosceles triangle. And with that, we know that their opposite angles are congruent. So we know that these two are equal to 28. Okay. Well, one thing that we want to know first off is that all of the angles add up to 180. Okay. So if I subtract 28 degrees two different times, or, okay, this is the same as 180 minus 56, okay, because 28 and 28 is 56, we get the total to be 124. Now, that's what this remaining angle has to be. So because of that, we know that 5x plus 9 equals 124. Okay, so now all we have to do to find x is finish solving this equation. I'm going to subtract 9. 5x is equal to 115. I divide by 5, and x is equal to 23. All right. All right, so now the next one, okay? Now notice here, we've got our isosceles triangle. We don't know anything about this angle right here, but what we do know is that because this is isosceles, these two angles are congruent. And because of that, we can set these expressions equal to each other, right? We know that those are equal. So now I'm going to work on solving them, okay? Now, you can move the variables on either side. I typically like to move my variables to the left. So that means I'm going to subtract 8x. So that's negative 12x plus 9 is equal to negative 3. And now I'm going to continue to solve. I'm going to subtract 9. Negative 12x is equal to negative 12. We divide by negative 12. And x is equal to 1. All right. Second question, all right? This says to use the converse of the isosceles triangle theorem. All right, so now what we have here is we know the angles are congruent. So therefore, because of that, we know their opposite sides have to be congruent. So if we have expressions that represent the length of the sides, we can find x by setting 8x minus 1 equal to 4x plus 5. Okay, because these two sides are congruent. So now I'm going to solve. I'm going to get rid of the x on the right. I have 4x minus 1 is equal to 5. And I'm going to continue to solve. 4x is equal to 6. We divide by 4. And x is equal to 4 over 6, which simplifies 3 over 2 because both of those can be divided by 2. All right. So now that we know x is equal to 3, 2, okay, the next question says, what are the lengths of all three sides of the triangle? All right, now we know two of them are the same, okay? So we really only need to do the math for one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take two of these expressions. I'm going to take the 4x plus 5, right? We're going to call this side 1, this side 2, or we'll call it A, B, and C, okay? So A and B are the same, and I'm going to use the 4x plus 5 for that. C, we have to use the 2x plus 1. And all we're going to do is we're going to substitute 3 halves into that. Right? Now, whenever I multiply by a fraction, an easy thing to remember is to divide by the denominator, multiply by the numerator. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 5 is 11. All right, so sides A and B are 11. And C, we're going to take 2 times 3 over 2 plus 1. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. Okay, and then 3 plus 1 is 4. So side C is 4. Okay, now when you go back to look at the shape, it's by no means drawn to scale. All right, but I know those different sides. Okay. Next page. All right, so we're